Let me tell you something funny. I never actually wanted to get married, like ever. Ever since I remember, since I was like 15 or something, I always said, like, I will never get married because I never saw a functional marriage. So no wonder that was not exactly on my vision board. But there's a plot twist. Actually, I am married now, and I married a man who actually matches the exact letter that I wrote designing my perfect lover. So today I'm going to share with you how I manifested my husband even without trying to get married, and how you can also manifest your perfect relationship too. Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Dinka Salvador, and welcome back to my channel. I always felt like relationships were work. Like they're hard, right? And some in a fulfilling way, but there's always like drama and heartache and hardship and struggle. I don't know, I'm a Disney princess. So every time I was in a relationship, I always felt like, oh, this is going to be the one, right? Like every relationship I was in at that moment was my last relationship. So it's not that I didn't have the commitment, but it just always felt like a struggle. I don't know if this sounds familiar to anyone, but I thought that this is just how it's supposed to be, like this is how relationships are, like it's work. And growing up, I didn't really see an example of a functional marriage around me. No judgment to my parents. I think it's for the best that they got divorced when they did. But there was just not really an idol, or like there was not really an example of how this could actually work. So very early on, I kind of felt like, no, this is not something that I want to do. It's like overrated. It's just like kind of this construct that we are pressured to accept by society and stuff like that, all the rebel stuff. But I remember this very, very explicitly from a very young age. Like I didn't even have a real relationship when I was already saying that I will never get married and never have kids. But okay, I mean, there's a lot of people who are not married and happy. So again, no judgment there. But it was just kind of funny how I was so determined in this. And honestly, I was perfectly okay just building my life and having goals, and relationships always played a big role in my life. And most of them only lasted until about 2.5 years. That was my longest relationship. If you convince yourself that relationships are difficult, guess what? You are going to attract hard ones. So I was definitely stuck in a cycle where this was my belief that, relationships are meant to be difficult, and it's work, it's struggle. It's like this constant push and pull between two people. So because of that belief, this was the only thing that was available to me as well. And if you are watching and thinking, yeah, that sounds about right, first of all, I completely understand you because I've been there myself. But it's completely based on what your beliefs are. And it's okay that this is normal to you because that's your reality, because that's what you've witnessed and experienced. Maybe you decided that it's just easier to be single. And listen, I have absolutely no judgment on being single. I have been single for many years myself as well. And I think there's ups and downs, there's pros and cons to both. But me, as I said, being a Disney princess and a hopeless romantic, I always kind of fantasized about this perfect relationship, when you find the one person. And it just kind of always was in the back of my mind. But there's, of course, a big difference between making the decision by empowerment to be single, or you are just being single because of the past hurt, because you just cannot take it anymore. So you're like, okay, I'm better off alone because I just don't want any part of this. The truth is that many of us never learned what healthy relationships actually look like. We didn't really have an example of that. So of course we are modeling what was available to us, or of course we are making mistakes because we just never kind of had the education how a functional relationship looks like. But then because of that, we also settle and we lower our expectations. And I think that's also because, we kind of just convince ourselves like, oh, but relationships supposed to be like that. There's like ups and downs and everybody argues and it's never perfect. And I mean, I agree. My relationship with my husband is definitely not without trials and tribulations, but there's a difference between the relationship being a constant struggle that kind of just drains you. And, having a relationship that generally builds you up. And then once in a while you face challenges, which is perfectly normal again. But so, yeah, when you kind of lose faith in relationships, you tend to lower your expectations and you settle for something that is not ideal, or it's not exactly the way you want it. And I think this is a very slippery slope, because I now do know for a fact that I was better off on my own than to be in a dysfunctional relationship. And I have learned so much about myself being single by choice, because I also, after a long relationship, after a breakup, I was just not ready to be in another relationship. I had to mourn that relationship. I had to find myself again. And I just wanted to be with my emotions, and I just wanted to have like a solid foundation. This is actually also something that we often say with my husband. If we would meet each other like years before we actually did, we were so not ready for each other. We were both working on ourselves, and we would never have been a match if we met before, when we actually met. So at a certain point in my life, I was pretty happy with my life and how things were. I was also single. I was busy building my business, and I had all my goals and all the things that I wanted to do. And there was a time in my life where I kind of felt like, okay, now I am actually ready to share this with somebody else. So when that happened, it was actually in August 2019, I decided something. I was still not looking to get married, quite the opposite actually, but I did want to have a relationship. So what I did is I just took my journal and I wrote down like the design of my perfect partner, not ideal, but like really my dream partner. I just designed this person into like ridiculously specific detail. So their core values, their personality traits, their appearance, like what kind of music do they like, how they act in public, and everything down to the nitty gritty. And then once I was done with it, I was very pleased with myself. I was even like, yes, this is the kind of man that I deserve to be with. And then after that, I read this every morning, first thing in the morning, and then in the evening for about 30 days. And I was just like reading it, and I was just like soaking it all up. Like, yes, this is the kind of man that I deserve to be with. And I was getting like hyped up. I was getting myself hyped up that, oh my God, this is my man. I was really being like proud and just like feeling that emotion, like how it feels to be with this person. And you really just kind of have to experience this joy and that connection that you have with this person. And then after 30 days, I just kind of put it away and forgot about it, honestly. And I just went back to my normal life and being me, working on my business. And actually in October 2019, started talking with my husband. We're a COVID couple. So we met online during the pandemic. And the funny thing is that even I think it was one of our first dates when this came up. We both said that we didn't want to get married and that we didn't want children. So this was already like kind of important to us to put it on the table because, I think it's important to manage expectations. So if you know that you want different things from the very beginning, I think it's better to maybe not proceed any further if it's something non-negotiable. But so we both agreed that we didn't want to get married. We didn't want children. We were just looking for a relationship to share our lives with someone. But yeah, so it was kind of funny how effortless it felt. Our first actual date when we met, we were just walking outside because nothing was open. So we were just walking in the streets in November and talking for hours. And it just kind of felt so easy to talk to each other. We both felt like there was no awkward silence or, there was no like pressure to say something. So it was like really flowy in my view. And then it kind of went like in a very natural way from there. At the beginning, I did have my doubts, and it was really funny because it was actually my mother who told me like, yeah, but I have a really good feeling about this guy, which is super funny because I remember all my life, like every relationship I had, my mother was always Switzerland. Like she wouldn't say anything, not good, not bad. Like she would just not say anything about any of my relationships, not even afterwards when they ended. She wouldn't say like, you see, I told you so, this wasn't the guy for you, not nothing. Like she would always be very friendly and kind and, you know, very civil with everyone of my partners, but she wouldn't take a stand. Like she wouldn't voice her opinion. And so the very first time that my mom told me that, yeah, just give this guy a chance, it was kind of suspicious, and now I understand why. It's also kind of funny because my mom and my husband share a lot of personality traits. I think this almost deserves its own video, but let's just say I often say that I basically married the male version of my mother. So it was kind of funny, like at the beginning when I had my doubts, my mom kind of told me like, no, 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 but I have a good feeling about this guy, you know, just give him a chance. So now fast forward to April 2022, I actually ended up proposing to him. So it was super funny. He didn't see it coming. Yeah, it was kind of funny in a way that he didn't know that I was proposing. Like I literally had to spell it out to him. But of course he said yes. And then afterwards, I remember we just kind of went to the closest jewelry shop and bought our wedding rings in 15 minutes. We probably broke some sort of a world record in wedding ring shopping, which also says a lot about our relationship. You know, like this is something that was important to us to have, but it wasn't important to have a specific type of wedding ring. We just wanted something very simple because it's symbolic, but it didn't have to be that specific ring. And again, if this is important to you, by all means, choose the perfect wedding ring. Take your time, months if you need to. But it was just kind of cool that we were totally on the same page about it. And basically 15 minutes later, we had our wedding rings. So yeah, and then we got married on my birthday next year in 2023. And then the funny thing is that it was only years later when I actually found that journal entry when we were moving. I found my old journal in one of the boxes, and I was going through it because I remembered then, oh yeah, right, I wrote something down about my lover. And I still have this entry here, 11th of August 2019. And yeah, it's just kind of funny. I read it to him, and it was like 90% of what I wrote matches him exactly. There were certain things that he's even better than what I expected. So just to give you some ideas, I'm going to read it. He's an emotionally mature person. He loves and supports me. My success doesn't scare him, it makes him proud. There's trust and respect in our relationship. We support and uplift each other, and we want to grow together. He doesn't have children and doesn't want any. We are a power couple. We are both strong on our own, but even stronger together. So yeah, this is exactly how I feel in this relationship, and I hope that he does too. So it was kind of funny, you know, finding this journal after a couple of years that I've written it. But so what's the secret here? Actually, it's pretty simple, but it's not always easy. So first, you really have to get crystal clear on what you want, and shouldn't settle for what you think you can have, but you really go all out on what you really want to attract. I think it's important to be specific, because if you don't know what you want, how the hell is the universe supposed to deliver it to you, right? But I think that the part that most people miss, and this is the second part, so what I did is just like I wrote a very detailed journal entry about my lover, basically. But then the second part comes that you actually have to become a vibrational match to that person, because it's easy to put in the order to the universe, like, hey, this is my shopping list, you know, like, please deliver it to my door. But you have to be that person that lover that you just designed wants to be with. So you have to match those expectations. And I think this is the part that a lot of people miss. Like, it's amazing that you have an idea, you wrote down what kind of lover you want for yourself, amazing. But then all those values, all those personality traits, all those things that you wrote, you also have to embody them, because why on earth would a person want to be with you who has those core values if you are not embodying those? I remember this so well. When we first started dating with my husband, he told me that he liked strong women, and I was like, well, I'll be the judge of that, because let's be honest, a lot of men say that they want a strong woman until they actually met one, yours truly. So this was actually an invitation for me to fully be my strongest self. And funny enough, he actually does like that about me. And for me, this is like such a turn on. I love how he is not only not intimidated or threatened by me standing in my power, but he's so proud of it. And I think it takes a strong man to love a strong woman. So he actually really meant it when he said that he likes a strong woman. And he was raised by one. So it's also no coincidence. So another crucial mindset shift is about manifestation itself. Stop putting manifestation in the future, because this is a problem. When I wrote that letter, for me, it was done. Like, I already put in the order. I know what I want and it's coming. When? No idea. How? It's not my business, but I knew that it was done. And I wasn't expecting like this guy just popping into my life every single day from that day on. But in a way, you also have to put yourself in situations where you can meet this person. So we met online. As I said, we were like a COVID couple. So I did, go onto a certain dating platform where I had the chance to meet with these potential perfect lovers. But I was also very, very picky. I wasn't just accepting anyone just because it kind of sort of fit the bill. I was still holding myself to those values and to that order that I put in. I think for most people, manifestation doesn't work because they're really projecting it in the future. Like one day I will meet someone. No, it's not happening now. It will happen one day. No, it's actually happening now. Manifestation, your life is a manifestation. Everything that is in your life, you have manifested. Even if you don't know it, you are doing it right now. Even if you don't like it, you're doing it right now. So trust that and just have this unwavering faith that is coming. I don't know how I have that. I have no answers for you on that one. But maybe it's also just my Disney princessness that I always knew that I will find my prince one day. But I did have to step into my princess power in order to be a match to that person. And finally, it's okay to have big expectations as long as you don't exclude yourself from them, as if you want something amazing, you need to be ready to match that energy. So just to sum things up, basically what I did is, one, I get ridiculously clear on what I wanted, how I wanted, what kind of person I wanted to be with. I wrote it down. Two, I read it every single day, first thing in the morning and before going to bed for 30 days. And I really felt that energy. I felt that feeling, like, how does it feel to be with this person? How does it feel to be loved by someone who has these kind of values and personality traits, and just kind of bask in that feeling? And the third one was just to kind of put it away and forget about it and don't worry about it. Don't look at your watch like, hey universe, like, what's going on? Where is my guy? Which is kind of hard, but just trust that it's going to happen. And I also will say this, that the universe will over deliver. So go all in on what you want, put your dream person on a paper, and be ready to meet someone even more special, or even better than you could ever imagine, because this is what just happened to me. And remember that the right relationship shouldn't feel like constant work. All relationships require effort and communication. It's like you have two moving targets that constantly have to dance with each other. It can be challenging at times, but it should feel like home. It should feel safe and comfortable and uplifting. And it is possible. And I can tell you that when you find your match, it will feel like nothing that before. I think the most important lesson that I learned, that it always starts with you. As long as you are not clear on what matters to you, as long as you don't know what you want, how the hell is the universe supposed to deliver you your perfect match, right? It's very hard to find someone when you don't know what you're looking for. And sometimes what you think, what you want, isn't actually what makes you happiest. So I didn't want marriage. I didn't want to be married to someone. But actually now we're almost 2 years married. And it's funny, people still ask us like, so how's married life? And we always say like, it's exactly like it was before. We were already very happy and we didn't get married to be happier. We just kind of did it because, why not? I actually don't know why we did it. Maybe I'm not making a lot of sense, but we are happily married, and the perfect relationship is possible. There is no such thing as perfect, but an uplifting relationship is possible. But first you have to believe that it exists and define it clearly, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to attract the person that you want if you don't even know what you want. So if this resonated with you at all, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I will see you on the next one.